They slammed a 16-year-old honor student to the ground, just because she dared to ask why she was being searched. What happened next shocked the whole school, and the officers never saw it coming. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories. Amara Williams was the kind of student teachers loved to brag about. 16 years old, a Strata honor student, soft-spoken, polite, always early to class. The kind of girl who dreamed of becoming a lawyer one day. She never looked for trouble. But sometimes, trouble has a way of finding the people who least expect it. That's exactly what happened on a warm Thursday morning at Eastwood High. The day started normally. Students were finishing their assignments, chatting with friends, waiting for the bell to ring. But then, chaos broke out. A teacher stormed into the classroom, his face red with anger. The school laptop, along with its keycard, had gone missing. The teacher shouted, "Nobody leaves until every bag is searched." Murmurs filled the room. Some students looked nervous, others annoyed, but Amara stayed calm. She had nothing to hide. Still, she knew the rules, and she also knew her rights. When the teacher demanded to start searching bags, Amara raised her hand and spoke in her soft but steady voice. "With all due respect, sir, you can't search our bags without permission." The room went silent. Everyone turned to look at her. For a moment, the teacher hesitated, but then he called in the school resource officer. That's when Officer Dan walked in, a tall man with a sharp jaw, sunglasses hanging from his shirt collar, acting like he owned the place. His partner followed close behind. Dan smirked at Amara and said, "We've got authority, sweetheart. Open your bag now." Amara looked him in the eye, her voice calm but firm. "I haven't done anything wrong. If you have a problem, you can call my father." She wasn't being rude. She wasn't shouting. She was simply standing her ground. But Officer Dan didn't like being challenged, especially not by a young black girl who dared to tell him no. His face hardened. Without warning, he grabbed her arm and twisted it behind her back. Amara gasped, her face tightening in pain. "I said open the bag," he barked. His partner pulled out a pair of handcuffs and clamped them down on her wrists so tight that they cut into her skin. Amara screamed out of defiance, but out of shock and pain, tears streamed down her face. "Stop. You're hurting me. Please let go," she cried. Students pulled out their phones recording everything. Some shouted, "She didn't even do anything." Others whispered in disbelief. One boy muttered under his breath, "This is crazy. She just spoke up." But Officer Dan was furious now. He dragged Amara toward the wall, slammed her against it, and shouted, "You're resisting arrest." His partner nodded in agreement, as if rehearsed. Amara was trembling, her knees weak, her face bruised from the slam, her wrists bleeding from the cuffs. The room buzzed with tension, fear, and anger. For Amara, everything felt like a nightmare. She had never even gotten detention, yet here she was being treated like a criminal. Finally, the officers gave her one phone call. Hands shaking, she gripped the phone, but when she spoke, her voice was steady, calm, and precise. "Daddy, they slammed me down outside Eastwood High. Please come." That was all she said before the line went dead. Minutes later, the air outside the school changed. 3 black SUVs rolled up quietly, engines rumbling low. No sirens, no flashing lights, just silent power. Men in dark suits stepped out, moving with sharp precision, flashing FBI badges as they walked. Students pressed against the windows, watching in awe. Teachers stood frozen in shock. Then, from the first SUV, a tall, commanding man stepped out. His face was serious, his suit sharp, his stride unshaken. This was Agent Marcus Williams, director of the FBI and Amora's father. The silence was heavy as his voice cut through the air. "I'm here for my daughter. Which one of you laid a hand on her?" The 2 officers froze. Dan's face turned pale. His partner dropped his gaze to the ground, suddenly aware of just how badly they had messed up. Marcus's eyes burned with controlled fury. His agents spread out, securing the scene. They collected the student videos, reviewed the school's security footage, and pulled the officers' body cams on the spot. It took only minutes for the truth to come out. No warrant, no probable cause, no resistance. Just 2 officers who chose violence against a child. Marcus turned to the men who had bruised his daughter. His voice was sharp, every word like a blade. "Turn in your badges. You're both done." Officer Dan stammered, "Please, sir, it was just protocol." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Protocol isn't brutality. You chose to hurt her. Now you'll face the consequences." The officers stood frozen, humiliated in front of the school they once tried to intimidate. Students whispered, unable to believe what they were seeing. The quiet honor student they knew, the one who always walked to class with her books neatly stacked, had just changed everything with one phone call. By the next morning, the school issued a public statement. The principal stood stiffly at the podium, voice shaking as cameras flashed. "We deeply regret the mishandling of yesterday's situation. The officers involved have been suspended. Amara Williams is cleared of all suspicion." But Marcus wasn't done. Standing in front of the press, his voice calm but powerful, he declared, "We are launching mandatory civil rights training for every officer in this district. My daughter's pain will not be ignored." The 2 officers were later charged with excessive force and unlawful arrest. Their careers ended in disgrace. The school district issued a full apology and paid a $2 million settlement to the Williams family. But Amara did not stay silent. The girl who once only spoke softly in class now stood before crowds of students across the country, telling her story. She became a youth civil rights speaker, teaching others to know their rights, to stay calm under pressure, and to never let injustice go unchallenged. She told young people, "Your voice matters. Even if they try to silence you, never stop standing up for what is right." What started as a day of humiliation turned into a powerful message. A quiet girl became a symbol of strength, a father became her shield, and justice was served. This story is not just about Amara Tess, about every student who has ever felt powerless in the face of authority. It's about every voice that was told to stay silent. And it's a reminder, never underestimate the quiet ones, especially when they know who stands behind them.